This is Siva Devaki from MassMailer. Thank you so much for joining the webinar today. Today I'm going to talk about a very important feature in MassMailer through which I can actually send emails to any object using the MassMailer Developer API in Salesforce, meaning Salesforce Apex code. Yeah. So let's just take a look. So just to summarize, what does MassMailer Developer API provides in all the features at a high level? It's a simple API wrapper that can be invoked in the API in the Salesforce Apex code. When I say simple, it's quite simple. All it takes is just an input, and it gives you the output back. And the input is taken in the form of JSON. If you're familiar with JSON, which I'm going to actually show it to you, like an example JSON. So it contains the sender information, the recipient information, email information, and the options for scheduling and subscription so far. But this is going to be kind of work in progress to enhance MassMailer Developer API to add more and more features in the future. So the recipient information, again, meaning who is going to receive the email. That is sent in the form of a query, which is SQL query that returns a list of records. So if you're familiar with Salesforce SQL, you will have to pass that as a SQL query that will return the list of records who are actually going to receive the emails. That's the recipient information. And the template information, the email information is basically you could form your own HTML, TXT values. If you store that content somewhere else, that's fine. Whatever you want to do, retrieve the HTML and the TXT values, and then pass that to the API. Or you can also pass a Salesforce template ID, meaning like if you created a Salesforce template, you can always pass the record ID of that template to the API. And rest of the information, such as the sender information, is more like who is sending the email, the name and from email address and the reply to, and the options for scheduling. When do you want to schedule it? And if you want to suppress the subscription tracking, so that's also available as a feature. And then API actually returns a response with the status information, status message as well, whether it is successful or not successful. And also we also give you back the outreach record ID, which means whether it is success or failure, you would still get the outreach record ID in order to make any kind of further processing from your side. Okay, so that's kind of at a high level what API does. So here, given a sample JSON input, then we'll take a look at the overall API call. So you can see the sender information, in which we mention, rather we want to take the name from address and the reply to. It could be, basically this could be the information that you're going to pass. And similarly, the recipient information, who is actually going to receive it. So the query, you need to basically pass what is the query, and then which object you're actually trying to send emails to. So the object should be the API name, the Salesforce Developer API name. And if you want to do any CC and BCC, you do have those options as well, that you could provide those CC email and the BCC email. And then in the options, you could provide the group ID. If at all you're trying to send emails to a group, you can actually send that group ID or the group name. Otherwise, it's considered as a global unsubscription option or unsubscribe option. And also at the same time, you can send the schedule, or rather, you can pass the scheduled date and time. If it is not scheduled at any specific date and time, then you just leave it as blank or send null. So that's an option. And then the actual email content, the template information here, you will have to pass the subject. You also need to pass the text version of the email and the HTML version of the email if you have one. Or you can actually just send the template ID, which is the Salesforce template ID. And if you have any attachments, you can also provide the attachment ID, Salesforce attachment ID. That way we can retrieve those attachments and pass to the email processor behind the scenes. Okay. And this is the example API call request. Again, in the top, we've just given the JSON. So in Apex code, you would define that as a string, and you form the JSON however you want to do it. We don't have any control on that because your own Apex code. So however you want to build your own JSON file, that's up to you. Ultimately, you form that string and then pass that example JSON to this API that you see here. Cloud Drop is the namespace for our app, and then MassMailer API service. The send email is the method. It's just a one-line code. All you're doing is just one-line code to send emails. And then you get a response back from MassMailer, and then from that response, you can actually, it's supposed to be a map. Sorry, I think in the previous example it was shown as a string. It's basically a map that you're getting as a response. So you can actually parse the respective value from this response. As you can see, you can deserialize the response JSON, and then you can actually try to get the status information, status code, whether it is scheduled or not, and also you can get the cron ID, the Salesforce cron ID, and also you can get the statistics ID, which is nothing but the outreach statistics or outreach ID. So these are the values that we send you back as a response. So that's a very simple response. And then now, yeah. So if you, this is again just to kind of explain the sender information. The from name is nothing but the sender's name. From address is nothing but the sender's email address. Reply to is a reply to email address, which is quite familiar to you. And the recipient information, the query, this gives the recipient list and the object name. So this is basically, the Salesforce API name for the object. We support any object that has got email field in it, as long as you enable those objects in MassMailer. And you can do CC, BCC. Again, those are the email addresses that you want to copy, or BCC. And then, so this is the unsubscribe group ID, and then schedule date and time. Again, you need to form this, rather you got to pass the schedule date and time, the Salesforce format, the way they take the date and time value, the Salesforce format. That's what you need to pass. Subject, that's the email subject. Text version is the text version of the email, and then HTML is the HTML version of the email. We always recommend that you have both text and HTML for higher email deliverability. And then template, it will take Salesforce template ID. Again, you should create a text version and the HTML version for any email template. So as long as you pass the template ID, we will retrieve both the versions. Attachment is basically, those are comma separated Salesforce file IDs. It can be an attachment, Lightning file, or a charter file. So it doesn't matter as long as you provide the unique Salesforce record ID for those files. We can pick those up and then attach. So that's the JSON input explanation. Now let's take a quick look at a simple API call here. I have a demo. So this is a demo version. So we have this record. This is a contact record. Yeah. And I also have a custom object. So this is a custom object. And I'm gonna run the script. So all I have is a simple anonymous window here. I just gone to the developer console and then opened up. So not sure if I can really, let's see, mobile open go. Okay, not bad. So here we have the JSON, the very first line that you can see. It's a JSON that I actually formed. That's an example JSON. And then all I'm doing is cloud drop MassMailer API service, send email, example JSON. So if this is the top one is for the standard object, contact object. So if I just highlight this, then I'm going to just say execute highlighted. It's just going to execute that, and then it'll give me the output. So what we're going to do here, so this is the record, and I'm just going to go refresh this. Okay, as you can see, the email has been sent 6:17 a.m. Just sent right now, and you can see this email has been logged as an activity history. So this is the email that I sent, and it is related to this particular contact. So just go back, and then the email status values also would get logged. So those would be stored here. Sometimes it may take time to get these email status values, but otherwise we do log all of them. As you can see, 6:18 today, it got delivered with this email subject. So these are the email status values that we have. And then I can do the same thing for this particular custom object. So let's just go to the developer console and go to the debug log. The debug anonymous window. So here I have this code for this custom object. Again, you would see this in the query. So in the query, I have the custom object ID that I'm kind of testing with. This is the custom object course. As you can see, this is the API name from Salesforce, and this one is for the contact. Again, this is just the API name from Salesforce. And I can also show you the template. So here we are passing the template ID. We are also passing the actual subject being a different subject from the template. So basically, you can override things. So basically, if you, an example here, subject is null, but template should have a template, email subject. So we are overriding that with the template subject. And in this scenario, I have the subject mentioned demo subject, but template may have something else. So I'm overriding that with the demo subject. So we have that additional feature as well. So in this example, there's no attachment. So we are gonna just send an email with no attachment. Okay, so let's just go try to execute this. Get highlighted. Then we'll go back to the course. So this was the last email sent yesterday. So let's just go refresh. Okay, so you can see the time right now, 6:20 a.m. We do have this email that got sent, and we also should have the related list as well. MassMailer email status. 6:20 a.m. So this email got delivered, got processed as well. So we got the email status value also got locked for this custom object. So that's how simple it is. So it is bulk in nature, meaning it's not one email that gets delivered. So even if you have 10,000 records in the query, we do support whatever the volume may be based on the commercial limit that you must have purchased in your email plan. So there's nothing else that you need to do. We support all the merge fields as well. We also support the batch process logic as well. So you really don't have to do anything other than just calling a simple one-line API call. So any questions, I'm happy to answer. Okay. Seems like there are no questions here. Once again, this is Sukadevaki. Thank you so much for joining the webinar today. If you ever want to send emails using the API, just let us know. We do have a support email that's support at massmailer.io, or you can just drop an email at hello@massmailer.io or contact me directly. Either way, we got many options for you to contact us. We got a direct phone number as well, or just go to our website and drop a note from there. And then you can look forward for the next webinar topic coming Thursday. The topic would be posted onto our website shortly. You will also receive an email if you're in our email list. Once again, thank you so much for joining the webinar today. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.